On New Year's Eve a few years ago, my brother sends me a text. He says, "I got a challenge for you, bud." He says, "How about you and I each do a workout every day for the next year?" And then he makes it real and he says, "Okay, here's how it's going to work. To keep each other honest, we're going to text a picture and we'll challenge each other, we'll push each other." And I agreed to it. And that started this year-long journey of us pushing ourselves and really committing to doing this. Part of why we were doing this was to get more active, get more physically fit. But probably a bigger part of it was to connect to each other. My brother is 7 years younger than me, and we've always been close, but never physically close. He lives in Vancouver, Canada. I've always lived 1,000 miles or more away from him. And so part of our desire, I think, and part of why he issued this challenge to me was that desire to connect more with me as a brother. The book kind of influenced some of the things I do in my leadership teaching, but what I've done in my leadership teaching has also influenced the book. So, half the stories that are in that book are probably ones that I've told at one point or another during my consulting work. And I found this interesting connection between the experience my brother and I were going through the workout challenges and so many of the lessons that I try and help leaders understand. Ideas about commitment, ideas about setting goals, and more importantly, ideas about supporting each other, about supporting our people, our employees, about kind of creating that team where people feel they're part of something bigger. Typically, when we think about accountability, we think about accountability for what I've accomplished, what I've done and the impact it's had. But we wanted to redefine accountability more in terms of the process, more in terms of that commitment that we make. And if you think about a lot of commitments we make are kind of like, I will try. And that's typically what we think of as a commitment of, as long as something that I don't anticipate coming along, I'll do it. But what if you take commitment one step further and you say, I will, nothing else. No, I'll try, no barring unforeseen circumstances, just simply I will. And when you take that commitment to I will, that really takes it to another level. It means regardless of what's going on in my life, regardless of how sick I am, regardless if I'm flying 18 hours to Dubai, I'm going to get in a workout. I don't know how, I don't know where, but I will do it. It really leads to an accountability to yourself. It's like, I am committing to myself to do this. And yes, it's a commitment to somebody else, but ultimately, it's a commitment to myself, saying, I'm going to do this. I really see the book as it's a way that we have solidified the experience of that year, but more, I hope it's an inspiration. That's really why we wrote the book, is that we were inspired through our year of working out together, and we're hoping that other people could be inspired by it. We're hoping that other people, and it doesn't have to be working out, it was for us, but that daily connection with somebody, I think, is a way for people to connect in a world where we're so often isolated by technology. We used technology, which typically isolates, to daily connect and to grow more deeply connected as brothers than we ever had. Why couldn't we do that with people over music, song of the day, a picture of the day, a tiki bar of the day, whatever it happens to be? Why couldn't we use this idea of connecting to someone on a regular basis to make a more connected world?